Good evening. I'm Harry Keeling, and on behalf of the Alaskan Aviation Safety Foundation and Alaska Public Media, welcome to Hangar Flying. This evening we're fortunate to have back Lieutenant Colonel Linda Thierauf. Linda is the Chief of Wing Safety, Third Wing Safety at JBER. She's an accomplished C-17 pilot and with tours of duty around the world, and of course being able to fly many places around the world. She's been on board at JBER about 3 months and has some really good ideas that I think you, the audience in general aviation or corporate aviation, will appreciate. Linda, welcome back.
Thanks for having me back.
So let's pick up where we left off. You were talking about one of the ways to reduce or manage mishaps was analysis and trend analysis. You want to talk a little bit more about that?
Of course. Yes. So I'll talk specifically for the C-17 community. Over the past 10 years, been doing a lot of flying, especially in Iraq and Afghanistan. Higher headquarters, they've been analyzing how we fly the C-17, and they've noticed, they can see so many flights, so many approaches are fast or slow, which leads to unsafe conditions. And so they looked at the different mishaps across the C-17 community, and they can point to, maybe on this mishap they didn't comply with the checklist, or maybe on this mishap they were just flying the aircraft slow and had a bad landing, which caused a mishap, or maybe they didn't apply or stick to an Air Force regulation. And as they looked at all these mishaps and dug into all these numbers, one thing they noticed in the background was crew fatigue. So when I was flying C-17s, I've been out of the cockpit for a little bit. When I was flying 6, 7, 8 years ago, before you step to go fly, before every mission, you had to fill out a risk management form. And there was a lot of things you had to look at, but one small factor would be fatigue. And they would ask you, in the past 12 hours, how much sleep did you get? And you're like, okay, whatever, I got 6, 8 hours, that's it. And that was before every single mission, whether you're flying out of Germany, coming home, or flying out of Afghanistan, Iraq, Pacific, wherever. It was just the past 12 hours. But since then, now that they've looked at all these mishaps, now when you think about your fatigue, they say, over the past week, how many 16-hour plus flying days have you had? That is a whole new step that I appreciate the higher headquarters is acknowledging. Now it gives the air crews something to look at and better quantify their fatigue. So now when I go to step to fly, if I've been out on orders for, say, 10 days, I can look over the past 7 days and be like, of those 7 days, 4 of those days, I've been flying 20-hour days. I'm tired. My crew's tired. And now I can write down on a piece of paper and I can quantify it. And in the past 3 days, there's also another block. In the past 3 days, I can actually say I only got 10 hours of sleep. And it's because of the mission cycle that they've put us on. And I think it's great. It's a great step forward. It's great that the Air Force is acknowledging, at least in the C-17 community, fatigue has played a factor in these mishaps. And hopefully now, when I raise the red flag, I can say, hey, higher headquarters, we're tired, and this is how I can quantify it. And higher headquarters can be like, you know what, the mission we have you on, it's not that, well, it's important, but not that important. Let's slip you 24 hours. Why don't you stay where you are for 24 hours, rest up, and then we'll carry on from there. And you know what? Now we're taking crews out of a situation, out of a tired situation, fatigue situation, that maybe they won't skip portions of their checklist, or maybe they won't be flying unsafe approaches, or maybe they will make sure they comply with all Air Force regulations because they're in a better mindset now.
Wow. What a good description of what seems to be a very effective program.
Yes.
I want to pick it apart. I think what I'm going to do is get you on again because there's aspects I want to talk about, and I want to see how we can apply it to the audience flying their single-engine Cessnas, flying maybe air taxis. One thing that's obvious to me, Linda, when I hear you say this has got top line, top level leadership's endorsement, because you could not do these kind of things if they weren't behind you 100%. Can you talk to that?
Yes, of course. Like I said, when I was flying a line C-17 instructor pilot 6, 7 years ago, if I was out on the road and I raised my hand and said, hey, my crew's tired, I would have gotten a lot of pushback. I would have had a good reason. They'd be like, but you got 6 hours of sleep last night, 8 hours of sleep last night, didn't you? And so it was hard as an aircraft commander then to quantify how fatigued you are. But now that higher headquarters put a program together or put a process together where they say, we get it, we know you're fatigued out there. And now we put a process in place for you, young captains and lieutenants who are out there flying around, that you can now raise your hand and we won't look at you like, come on, you're tired? We now understand, which is, it's just a great 180 from when I was flying 6-7 years ago.
I want to come back to this, but I will tell you that over the years, not so much now, but a problem we've had in the air taxi world here in Alaska is if you don't have a boss that supports that and you go and you say, I don't feel like flying this mission because of the weather, crew rest, the worst thing that boss can say is, you know what, I can find somebody else that'll fly that.
Exactly.
Let's pick up this. I'll get you back one more time.
Okay.
We'll pick this up where we left off.
Great.
Thanks for being on the program
Thanks for
tonight.
having me.
Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed tonight's program. Until next time, fly safe.